I grew up on, right here. Yeah,
does this look the same?
It pretty much looked the same. But it used to be like more trees. Like every house had a tree in front of it. And at some point the city started cutting the trees out. They said that the helicopters couldn't see people. So they start.
What, the police helicopters?
Yeah, so they start cutting the trees out.
3 decades and billions of dollars later, it's still a tough place.
Do you ever give money to politicians?
No.
Why?
I don't believe in politicians. Politicians have hidden agendas. They owe a lot of people a lot of favors. The more money you give them, the more you're listened to.
So you've never fallen for a politician?
I can't say that.
For some reason, Ice Cube agreed to do an interview with Tucker Carlson for his Twitter-based show, where he rode along with him through South Central LA, learning about many things, like the existence of police helicopters. You mean police helicopters, Cube? Not the ones that we take to avoid traffic? Yes, those, Tucker. You'd think Ice Cube would have realized from Tucker's clueless response here that he was simply a conservative pundit using Cube's credibility for his own bigoted propaganda.
To a remarkable degree, federal law enforcement is now driven by political imperatives. Certain kinds of so-called hate crimes top the list of priorities. They'll draw the FBI faster than you could summon the local police to your house during a home invasion, even when, as is so often the case, they turn out to be hoaxes. White supremacy is just that prevalent in America, they tell us. It's everywhere. Except it's not. That's a lie. White supremacy is not ubiquitous in America. It's not a crisis. It's not even a meaningful category. It is incredibly rare. You could easily live your entire life in this country without meeting a single person who believes anything like that. Most of us have lived lives like that. I have. This may be a lot of things, this moment we're living through, but it is definitely not about black lives. And remember that when they come for you, and at this rate, they will.
Tucker and his team splashed in their own slanted perspective of social and political issues, along with Cube's distrust in the way that America's leaders feign concern.
What'd you think of Obama when he got elected?
For the first time, I felt proud that America took that step.
Yep.
I didn't think they would ever do that. And so that was a moment in time. But then, you look around, years go by, and, not much change for people I know, people I care about.
We've had 6 major race riots on the president's watch. Race relations have plummeted to lows not seen since the Rodney King.
In Chicago, a toddler is now the latest victim of the city's deadly surge in gun violence.
But it didn't change with Bush, it didn't change with Clinton, it didn't change with other Bush or Reagan or Carter. At the end of the day, it's still the same results.
So you're describing a symbolic victory?
Yes, in a lot of ways, yes.
Now, while Carlson and his crew think they've exposed some kind of unheard of truth among black Americans about how little the government actually cares about the plight of people that are systematically disenfranchised, what he doesn't know is that many black Americans don't trust Republicans or Democrats. His assumption is that black folks are just too stupid and trusting of the Democratic Party. It's just another insult, though, wrapped in fake concern. Yeah, but we see that too.
And then came George Floyd, and the beginning of what we were told was a second civil rights movement. If there was going to be liberation in the wake of the Floyd riots, this is where you'd see the effects.
3 years ago, a bunch of big companies put hundreds of millions of dollars into Black Lives Matter. Threw them a lot of money. Did that improve the neighborhood you grew up in?
Whenever you do that, most of the time, it's a lot of people siphoning that money off the top.
Yeah.
And the kicker is a lot of people say they're going to give the money, but they don't even give the money.
They make the pledge and never write the check?
Yeah, they just get the article wrote. Everybody think they're great, and they never even give the money.
They discussed how companies and corporations feign care or maybe give money, but really don't give money to causes like this. But where's the discussion about how much the government actually puts hurdles in the way of people for their progress, for that shot at the American dream? It's weird. They just assume corporations and companies are supposed to do it. But the government that we all pay into has absolutely no role unless they're actually assisting the people that they care about. Where's that part of the interview? Still, though, are you guys ready for the most ironic part about the whole thing? While discussing Ice Cube's decision not to take the COVID vaccine, Tucker goes on about truth tellers.
Why wouldn't you take the vax? You had a direct order to take it. You were told to take it.
Yeah, I'm not real good with direct orders, but on a whole nother note,
but it was a command. I mean, I'm sorry, they told you. I mean, they couldn't have been clearer about it.
Yeah, it was pretty clear.
The idea is that people who stand on their convictions are heroes. They're brave. They have principles. You know, they're the people we look to for inspiration. But in this case, with this decision and these principles, you were not hailed as a hero.
Suffering in silence is not the answer all the time. You know, sometimes you gotta let people know what's going on so you can actually move the needle. Choose to be vocal. If it's true, why can't I say it?
Well, you can't say it because it is true.
There it is. Now that's the problem with the world today.
There's no penalty for lying. No one's ever punished for lying. It's only telling the truth that gets you in trouble.
Ain't that something?
That's true.
Yeah, that is so true.
The reason Tucker thinks no one ever gets punished for lying is because he was avoiding punishment for a lifetime of lying on television. That is until Fox News had to pay $787 million to Dominion Voting Systems for it. But we mysteriously didn't hear about that little nugget during this cushy interview. Here's a little sampling of the racism and lies Tucker's been spewing over the years that Cube might have wanted to look into before allowing him to use his name and recognition for propaganda against the very same people that he wants to represent and advance forward.
It is wrong to attack people for qualities they cannot control. In this country, we judge people for what they do, not for how they were born. We often say that because we mean it.
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. But I just have zero sympathy for them or their culture, a culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks. They can just shut the up and obey, is my view.
As of yesterday morning, that island was 89% white. Unfortunately, and this really is the point, Martha's Vineyard is one of a dwindling number of beautiful places left in our country. Martha's Vineyard is what most of America once was, not all that long ago. Small, socially cohesive, orderly, safe. The people who live in Martha's Vineyard now didn't build any of that. The people who did build it are long gone, along with the attitudes and values that made it possible. This is our country. We were born here. We plan to die here. We have nowhere else to go, and we don't want to live in a slum. Overall, this is the least racist country in the history of the world. Millions of Africans want to move here. Many already have. Our last president was black. What are you talking about?